All right, guys, what's going on? Will here, you there? Hope you're enjoying your Sunday. However, with everything going on and with everything that's been said, there's a lot that's going to be needed to be dissected thus far. The NHL offseason, it is what it is. But let's talk about the Islanders, right? They're the only team right now that hasn't made a move yet. And while many people on social media have been very adamant about Lou Lamoriello going out there and not making a move, Islanders fans, I feel like every year this is the same thing that keeps on going on and on and on. Now, having said that, let me go into the background of myself. I'm an Islander fan. I'm an Islander season ticket holder for the past 4 years, and I love the Islanders. Now, with that said, am I going to be a Lou defender? Am I going to be a Lou supporter? No, I'm right in the middle, because there are some moves time after time that we have no idea about, but they've come through, they've produced, right, with some of these moves. Guys like Leo Komarov coming in, he's not going to put up points. He wasn't going to put up points, but he's a big locker room guy. And, guys like Valtteri Filppula, Derek Brassard, and re-signing guys like Anders Lee, Jordan Eberle, Brock Nelson. Obviously, Eberle's gone now. And re-signing the likes of Anthony Beauvillier, Kyle Palmieri, seeing Ryan Pulock and Adam Pelech back on the island as well, and seeing Ilya Sorokin coming over from Russia, even though he was a Garth Snow draft pick. He's been there. But having said that, I really firmly believe that this roster right now is what you're going to see come the 2022-2023 season. And while many people are going to go out there and rip this guy for not making a move yet, I think the moves, and there are some signings that have happened thus far, and I feel like it's all silent. It's always silent with Lou. And from what I've seen thus far, and from what I've heard, and from what I've read, the fan base is pretty much all going nuts right now at this point, right? Top 6 wingers have been traded, signed. They haven't come to the island yet. But when we're talking about draft picks too, he's traded away a first-round draft pick for a guy that's really unproven. But in the 3 years and the 4 years that Alexander Romanov has played, he has been literally like a fan favorite up in Montreal. But the Islander fan that doesn't watch Montreal Canadian games, and there's 99%, I'll be one of them, but I've seen videos of him being a hard-hitting defenseman. This is what this team needs. And that's something that the team last year didn't have. They got walked on a lot by a lot of guys, by a lot of teams. But having said that now, this team has gotten 23 years younger at one position. So having said that, seeing the Romanov implication here definitely helps them out. If they go out there and re-sign both Romanov and Dobson to some long-term deals, great, fantastic. I would love to see that. And I think that with this team right now in place, with their 5 out of 6 defensemen being under contract, if we're going to see Pelech and Pulock together, we're going to see Romanov and Dobson together, if we're going to see Scott Mayfield with whoever, whether it be Klingberg or with Sebastian Aho or Robin Salo or whoever it is that's going to be on that defense, or Andy Green for that matter, this team might be looking good for next year. So their defensive pairings, I think they'll be fine there. But as far as the forwards go, should they make a move just to get younger or get somebody better for Barzal? I think we've been all saying that for years. Me more so the fact that they need more of a balanced type of player to go out there, and they can't have a guy that can go out there and just score. They need a guy that's going to go out there and be a defensive presence out there too. So I don't think those guys are on the market per se, but I really firmly believe with this team right now that we're going to see the same forward group back. And with the salary cap implications, Semyon Varlamov being a guy that's going to be making $5 million for being a backup goaltender after what we saw with Ilya Sorokin and what he produced last year, I think it's clear that Sorokin might be the clear-cut number one for the Isles going into this season with their goalie situation. I think that Josh Bailey, and by the way, Lou Lamoriello did not sign Josh Bailey to that extension. It was Garth Snow back when Bailey made it to the All-Star team in the 2017-2018 year. So people like to forget about that. Oh, he should have done this, he should have done that. Bottom line is, Bailey was locked up to that contract anyway. But will he get moved? I don't think so, unless you're going to add a draft pick and you're going to get back somebody of lesser value in return or somewhat of a salary dump. But I don't think that's going to happen. I look at Anthony Beauvillier too, another guy that's going to go out there. He's making $4 million. He's got a chip on his shoulder that he's got to go out there and succeed next year, because if he doesn't, he's more than likely gone. So having said all that, I expect this team to be competing for a playoff spot. They're going to have a huge chip on their shoulder, and I think Lou wants to see this core win. And the fourth line, people want to give shit about the fourth line. Oh, they're older, they're this or that, they don't score. There's a reason why they go out there and they play up with the first line of many other teams. And that's because of the fact that they go out there and defend pucks. They have that sandpaper, lay their body out on the line, be physical type of deal. And that's how they do it. Now, will I expect the fourth line to go out there and start games this year? Or I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to see Barzal, maybe Brock Nelson, the Anders Lee, Anthony Beauvillier line start games, if that's the case. But having said all that right now, with this team in place, I personally believe that this is the team that you're going to see next year. So I'm not wearing the glasses. I'm not going to wear those glasses, those rosy-filled glasses. But the one thing that I want to say, and I'm just going to leave it like this, is the fact that this Islander team, they're ranked as one of the worst prospect pools in the sport, which I kind of agree with to a sense. But when you look at guys like Atu Atu and Robin Salo is a good defenseman. Ratu, because of the fact of where he was drafted, and I've seen this kid play in Bridgeport. Kid's phenomenal. He can lay the body. He can shoot the puck. He can pass the puck. He has those hockey senses in where you could go out there, you could see where he could play, and he can make people better around him, right? He is that kid. He's got to get more seasoning in the NHL or in the North American sport. But I feel like with everything going on, with everything that's been said with this kid, he's going to be good. He may be a second line, third line guy, whatever. Hopefully he's a top liner. But this is something that needs to be addressed. Atu Ratu is going to be that guy come year in and year out. He will be that guy. Good. I think he's going to be a good prospect. Some of these other pieces that they got, Isaiah George, this year's draft, Kale Dealis, those are good moves. William DeFore. You're going to see a lot of these guys try and get their bearings right onto their team. So they might not be playing for Bridgeport, but they're trying to develop their game in order to be here in the AHL or in the NHL. We'll see what happens. But the reason why I say about the draft class and about the draft in general is because of the fact that, Lou Lamoriello strikes out on his picks. He doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. Well, let me ask you this, right? For the past 3 years, the Islanders, they traded away and forgot about Simone Holmstrom too. Hopefully he makes it onto the team, but we'll see. Anyway, 2020, the Islanders trade away their first-round draft pick, second-round draft pick, and third-round draft pick to the Ottawa Senators for J.G. Pageau. And the Islanders needed a third-line center. And while he was going out there, he was scoring goals. There are people out there right now that are saying, oh, he's a bad, there was a bad move, looking at it. Well, the last time I checked on social media and how it is now, he's a third-line center. And he's a guy that can go out there and win faceoffs, can be out there at the end of games, defending the lead or trying to get back something in return and being with those bottom six guys and winning those faceoffs and blocking those pucks and doing that. That was a great move by Lou, and it still is. Is it unfortunate that he got hurt in the bubble and this year, last year, where he wasn't the same player and we all know that? Yeah, it is what it is. But guys, we're ripping this move when in all reality, who else were the Islanders going to get to play that third line center role? You're gonna say Derek Brassard again? You're gonna say, you're gonna have Josh Bailey playing that third line center? Absolutely not. But guys, think about it. Pageau has played absolutely well in his Islander tenure here. So he's become a fan favorite over the past 2 years. And he is, to me anyway, he's a glue guy that you want on this team. And then Kyle Palmieri, with the first round draft pick that they gave up in that 2021 draft. Listen, here's the bottom line. With Pageau and Palmieri, those guys are going to play immediately, and the Islanders are fighting for a chance to compete for a Stanley Cup. But yet, we're all focused in on right now. Oh, it's just finding excuses right now at this point, right? So, for the Islander fan out there that's complaining about Kyle Palmieri and J.G. Pageau, I think they have a chip on their shoulder, the aforementioned chip on their shoulder to go out there and play hard this year. So, for those guys out there that are complaining, we don't have any first-round draft pick, they were trying to compete for a cup that they didn't get, but they made it to 2 straight Eastern Conference Finals in those years. So, just think about that, okay? Literally think about that. That player, whoever that first-round draft pick is, even with Romanov, that first-round draft pick wouldn't be playing for 2 to 3 years anyway. So you guys don't have any clue. And Lou Lamoriello does not like to rush his prospects up. He doesn't like to rush his prospects up. So for those people out there, they don't draft well, they don't do this. Hey, how about you go look at the coaching staff down there too in Bridgeport with Thompson being over there. You talk about blame game with Lamoriello and how he wants to. No, how about the coaching staff down there not having to get guys? Just saying. So anyway, I'm going to leave off like this. I'm going to give you a bold take. I don't have a crystal ball in front of me. I don't have anything like that in front of me. But this team right now is going to have a huge chip on their shoulder. That's what I feel. And that's something that I've seen. And from these off-season photos that we've seen from these players, whether it be Barzal and Wallstrom and, Pellick. Pellick doesn't have his social media. Matt Martin and his wife, they're bonding together at these weddings. That leads me to believe in Anthony Beauvillier, J.G. Pageau. We're seeing this team bond right now. So that means to tell me that with Lou being at the helm and he's seeing everything right now, I don't see this team making a move for a top 6 guy. I don't. So seeing all these guys bonding and stuff like that, and I think Lou is the biggest preacher for that in that team chemistry type of feel, I necessarily don't see the Islanders making a trade just to make a trade to get a big-time winger at that point in time. And for the Gaudreau stuff out there too, let me face it with you. I'll be honest with you at this point in time. I don't think they were ever in it. I think the top insiders with LeBron and, Elliot Friedman they could put out all that stuff, and they could express the frustration of what the fans are feeling right now. But at the end of the day, Gaudreau, he was about to sign with New Jersey. Columbus comes in at the last hour, and they legitimately do what they got to do. So I digress. Having said all that, this team right now with the Isles, they're not going to make a move. I think they're going to go out there and they feel like last year was a fluke between the 13-game road trip, the COVID, and some of the lineups that Barry put out there, putting them in a punter most of the time. But again, people don't like to talk about how, it takes 2-3 weeks to get into a certain chemistry with somebody and they get that feel. It's sports. It takes time. And that's something that we didn't see last year. We didn't see this team go out there and have certain chemistry together. Now, the Beauvillier, Nelson, Lee line played well at the end of the year. Same thing can be said with Zach Parise, Barzal, and whoever was on that, Wallstrom, Bellows, whoever. The bottom line is, they got to go out there. And me personally, I think you're going to see the same team here. But from a realistic standpoint, if Lou gets a deal that gets done and you see a top 6 winger here, God bless. But for me, personally, we're going to see this team, we're going to see the same exact team next year, going into training camp for sure, in my opinion. I'm not a betting guy, but if I had to bet, I definitely would put that money down to see this whole team back and trying to get this whole thing together. We may see a trade deadline acquisition, but I don't necessarily see the Islanders making a move just to make a move. That's just me, but we'll see. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching in and listening to this little rant. I'll talk to you guys soon. We'll see what happens. And, LGI. Peace out. Enjoy your Sunday and just stay hydrated, guys. Stay safe. Peace out.